What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm your host, Love Coach Scott Katamas, and it is another edition of Making Contact. In a moment, we're going to meet Alan Steinfeld, who wrote the book and is the guy who is in the know of what's happening. Curious who in our Zoom room audience saw the Danny Sheehan amazing interview and conversation that Danny and his wife Sarah did on Monday. Let us know, put in the chat box what you thought of that. And I want to welcome all of you watching on Facebook and YouTube. Come and join us. Come join the Global Peace Tribe, because the second half of our show is going to be Q&A with our remarkable panel of guests. And we've got some wonderful folks with us, including Carolyn Burrard, who I hope I just pronounced that correctly, Carolyn. She is become one of my two favorite Substack authors. Her kind of musings about the consciousness part of the UFO, UAP, ET galactic family phenomenon is intelligent, insightful, and inspirational. So I'm really delighted to have Carolyn with us. And our, of course, great co-host Alan Steinfeld, the author of Making Contact. And then you've seen him before. This time you get both Costa and his wife and life partner, Hollis. And they are at the ground floor of really making it a people's movement. And you're going to learn all about that. And then we have two new friends, Sir Blake. Yes, he is a sir. We might learn all about that, is with us. And Desiree is with us. And really excited to hear these people who have had personal experiences. They're going to share their experiences, and we're going to hear from all of you. So it's going to be an evening of deep engagement. And with that, I'm going to put the pin on you for a moment, Alan. What's your overall, where are we? Where do we stand with Making Contact at this time?
There is so much happening in this field, in congressional hearings and whistleblowers coming forward on many podcasts. But what I just saw today, which was remarkable, is that Voyager 1, has anyone heard this? As it reached interstellar space, had an intelligent interruption in its flight, and it changed the course of its trajectory. And they say it's only could have been done by an intelligence consciousness that exists in interstellar space. That is like, talk about everything else. That is shocking news.
But just to understand what you're saying, without NASA didn't direct the change,
right?
It hit interstellar space, and it on its own, through some other command that kind of superseded NASA, changed its course.
changed its course, and it kind of went through a kind of warp of time. I mean, they're talking about the chrono landscape, the chronographic landscape, this time landscape. So what's happening now? They're discovering a lot more is happening in this what we thought was empty space, this interstellar space. There's actually an intelligence or a fabric or an ecology. It's not just empty. We're discovering this week there's more to the universe than we ever suspected. Or we thought, oh, it's just empty out there. And this is such a change, and it's full of some kind of intelligence. I'll put maybe some of the links to this one interview with Michio Kaku. There's another interview, I think, on News Nation, and they're saying, and it's not in the papers that much. It's on a couple of, because no one understands it. This is confounding everything we thought we knew about time space, and it was directly influenced by some intelligence out there to get our attention. And another thing they say is it has something to do with the quantum entanglement and the double slit experiment. If you put your attention on something, you're going to be changing it. So because Voyager 1 is the furthest object in space that we have our attention on, it's kind of, some people say it's changing the fabric of interstellar space because we're looking at interstellar space. So it is so far out, and it fits in with this confounding situation of UFOs and ETs, and like I say, no one understands what's going on there. So all these guests we're having tonight have a beautiful piece of the story, and still we must demand truth, like Danny Sheehan did the other night. So we're in this incredible unfolding mystery that is getting more complex, more exciting. We talked about the telepathy tapes before the show. That's a whole other avenue of consciousness. And we're in a convergence of realities like we've never seen before. I'll just leave you with that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alan. And in a moment, Alan's going to introduce our first guest, Carolyn. And again, come on in, join the Global Peace Tribe. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, register. You'll get the Zoom room links. You can come straight in because we're already going to get some really interesting questions. I want to acknowledge some of our audience members. Reverend Jeffrey writes, we should daily feel a deeper union with life, a greater sense of that indwelling God source, the God source of the seen and of the unseen within us. Absolutely. Thank you very much. TR points out that nature abhors a vacuum, space is full. Absolutely. And yes, when we get to our prayer time, Roger will do a prayer for your cousin. Reverend Jeffrey's on a roll. I'm going to read one more thing from him. He reminds us that the universal mind contains all knowledge. It is the potential ultimate of all things. To it, all things are possible. And I think that what Alan's pointing out, everything is changing so rapidly. The telepathy tapes is recognized. It's like this 100th monkey. Oh yeah, we can become telepathic. The veils are thin. People are having more experiences with deceased loved ones, angels, guides, extraterrestrials. And we're going to hear from some of our presenters tonight who are going to share their personal experiences. And we want to open it up for all of you to share your personal experiences. So you can share it in the chat box, or we might even call on some of you. So we look forward to, and thank you. I'm glad several of you watched the Danny Sheehan program. It was amazing. I'll put into the chat box the link where you can watch it again. All right, Alan, I'm really excited that Carolyn agreed to be on the show again. So would you be so kind as to introduce her, please?
Are we doing
Yes, I'm really happy you like Carolyn, because when I discovered her on her Substack, I said, wow, this is an intelligent person who's able to clearly and discerningly, if that's a word, look at the UFO situation and make an intelligent analysis, but also a feeling connection to it. So
Alan, I got so excited about Carolyn that I jumped ahead. I
Oh,
apologize, but we always start with music, and we have
oh,
brilliant
okay.
house musical artist Omashar. So hang on, everybody. Carolyn is coming. But of course, we want to get us going, moving and grooving with beloved Omashar first. Here we go. And I do apologize, my friend.
It doesn't matter. I was excited any way that it rolls. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Humanity's team and our streaming partners, as well as Facebook and YouTube. But Alan, you got us off to such a great start, and I'm excited to be a part of this awakening journey because it's becoming so very real. We don't need any kind of proof anymore because it's just unfolding in front of us. And what I will say now is pretty much welcome home. Let me shine a light inside, and I'll show you where your truth resides. I'll lift your eyes up to the skies, and I'll prove to you that nothing dies. Together we will rise again, and we'll make amends for what we've done. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. Welcome you home. So let me take your hands in mine. As I look at you, your spirit shines. You see, it's true that we are one, and we came out from the central sun. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. Welcome you home. So when you take a different view and you dream awake, breathe out the new. The world will come alive again as we dance and sing and make new friends. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. I'll show you where your truth resides, and lift your eyes up to the skies. I'll prove to you that nothing dies.
Let's all give a big twinkle to our beloved Omashar. Going to gallery view, let's twinkle away.
Twinkle away like the stars that we're talking about tonight.
And speaking of stars, Omashar, affectionately known as Omastar, you can find everything that he has at omashar.com. Announcements, a little bit about him, and the links. And a reminder that we want to buy his albums and we want to buy them on Bandcamp, because Bandcamp is the most generous. And I see Dancing into Greatness is now filled that spot, Omashar.
Oh, it has. I didn't even think of that. That's the first time he brought it up.
That's the first time I brought it up and seen that. That's very exciting.
Nice. Yes, yes, yes.
So now we have something new to purchase.
Thank you.
Really, it is important to support our beloved Omashar. And yes, you wanted to say something.
No, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Love you. Thank you so much. So,
I love you too. And Omashar will be back with 2 more songs tonight. I'm not the only one who's excited about Carolyn. Connie Baxter Marlowe writes, so excited that Carolyn is here. She's bringing the importance of the ET vibration for shifting our frequencies and the laws that apply to us and our systems. She sees what it will be like when we have access to what Connie and Andrew call the trust frequency, which we talk a lot about on this show. Yay, Carolyn. So that's from Connie. So there's a lot of enthusiasm. And to complete the introduction, here is Alan introducing Carolyn, take 2.
Thanks, Scott. And as we were saying, well, first of all, I'm so happy for all the guests here because they have a very unique perspective on the phenomena. Let's just call it the phenomena, because we don't really know what's going on. We're intersecting with so many different realities and awakening consciousness on the spiritual level, on the political level, on the energetic level. So we are in a huge transformation. That's why Carolyn Broulard's Substack, Getting Ready for the Galactic Age, it's not just focused on UFOs or disclosure. It's taking in the whole political scene, the whole energetic awakening consciousness. It is part of everything that the world will be going through in this galactic age that we're coming into. So I am ready. I'm happy that Carolyn's here. She is a passionate explorer of the beyond. She's an avid sky watcher and a personal experience of the phenomena. So Carolyn, thanks. I'm glad you trusted me to come back on this show, to be on this show in the first place, and explore this great audience with all the beautiful things you have to say. So please, can I just start with a question? How do you make sense of where we're at in this cultural, spiritual disclosure development we're a part of now?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much, Alan and Scott, for having me back on the show. I love the energy of this group and so appreciate the opportunity to speak again. To your question, Alan, I'm actually going to circle back in a little bit of a roundabout way to what you started with this news about the Voyager. I heard something perhaps a little bit differently, but I think it overall speaks to part of what's happening now, which is not just the awakening, but it's sort of these evolutionary triggers that are supporting us in this mass awakening. Things like the Voyager, and part of what I had heard, which I don't know if it's a separate incident, it may have been a little further back, but was essentially, yes, that this Voyager came out and got some anomalous data feed that basically was changed based on the people who were looking at it, and gave the produced an image, a mirror image of a human in this data feed. And, I don't really have a way to validate it. Heard some of these sources, but what it really sparked in me was this idea that all of existence is supporting us right now in our awakening. And there are things, even in our own technology, be it Voyager 1 and things interacting with it, being the photon band that our galaxy is traveling through, and the increase in the solar flares, as well as the discoveries like of these potential columns underneath the Khufu pyramids. So much of our lost history is being revealed to us now, and we're getting a much fuller picture of what's really been going on and really who we are. We can focus all day on sort of what the government's revealing and who knew what and when, and I think that is a really important piece of the puzzle. But ultimately, this is a consciousness journey, and I think that we are on the precipice of things getting really exciting. Oh, do we lose Alan? Okay.
No, yes. Oh, I thought you were. Oh, so yeah, we
I
can
can keep
dialogue.
talking.
No. We could totally dialogue that. Yeah. So why don't you talk about some of the things you're tuning into as the coming galactic age? What is the world we have to be ready for, and what can we expect to manifest in this new time?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a really important point. I think part of what is causing the chaos in the world is some of the control structures that we've been living under for millennia are really quaking in their boots. They're starting to crumble, and more of the light is starting to shine through. And we are so used to having been living under these control structures. And by control structures, I mean sort of the web of manipulation and control, whether it comes through government, education, healthcare, religion, the financial system, all the things that have essentially functioned as mind control to divorce us from our knowing of selves as divine and eternal and part of infinite intelligence. All of the mechanisms that have sought to suppress our consciousness are falling away, but we've been living under them for so long that so many people lack the imagination, really, and the courage to dream of what this new world could be. And I get it. I think we're moving into a future where there isn't necessarily a blueprint. We are the creator beings and we're creating it, but it's hard to imagine something you've never imagined before. And so part of how I think of it and where I spend time in meditation is not so much saying, okay, this is how we're going to organize and how we're going to coordinate and cooperate with one another. I focus on the frequency of it. I imagine, how is that new world going to feel? And I think of children running through fields, playing, not having to be afraid of strangers. I think of the sun on my face and the feelings I have, like when I go out in my van and go out into nature, and my own experiences of transcending fear and feeling at home in the world. It's really activating those frequencies that we want to amplify in this new world. And then it's like, as all manifestation happens, we're focusing on that emotion, on that frequency, on that feeling, and the infinite intelligence will deliver the form. It will deliver the inspiration. It will deliver the um, ideas and the solutions that we need to build this new world. We don't need to be able to sit down right now and sketch out exactly how it's going to be. We just need to want it and to start taking steps in that direction. And I think we will have help from those other civilizations that care about us.
Well, that's one thing I really want to talk to you about. You've had direct contact with ETs. Maybe you could describe those experiences, but also how can we prepare for that sort of consciousness link with species that may not look or think like us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And my contact experiences up to this point have been mostly energetic and seeing things in the sky, which I'm glad in a sense we're kind of like steps to acclimate me to the how powerful that energy can be. So when I felt it in my body, it's been very loving, and it's a sense of family, of friendship, of kinship, of wanting to share and create something together. And so I don't approach this topic with any fear. That said, and I'll be coming out with an article fairly soon that addresses some of this. I also do believe that our galactic history has not been entirely benevolent. And some of the things that have been living under on our planet do have some more malevolent ET influence. And so I'd love to sit here and say, if I came face to face with a reptilian, I'd make use of all of my training and not be afraid. But the truth is, I might be, and we can allow ourselves that. But it's really the solution in everything is to come back to consciousness and the understanding of reality that we are all just casting our consciousness into a plane of existence, a band of frequency. We've chosen our forms. Beyond the veil, we are all peers. No one is more powerful than another. And ultimately, this is the world that we've created to have the human experience. And it's really going to be up to us with some inspiration, I think, from those who have been through this journey already, who can maybe give us some tips on what it looks like to have fifth dimensional justice systems, to what relationships look like, how to live more fully with compassion, how to govern with compassion to the extent any form of governance is still needed. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just looking at your Substack and talk about discernment in making contact. What do we need to know?
Well, I think, there's a few things, and it's actually a great topic because there's so many videos and so many things coming, and I've never felt more confused, honestly, sometimes in my life of like what actually is going on now. And really what it comes down to is the things that I'm most sure about are the things that are affecting me, are the experiences that I'm having. And so what I look for in certain things of, is this promoting fear? Is this encouraging me to take an action that might be counter to my well-being or to the well-being of the whole, of the collective? Is there a proposal coming out of this to take away some freedoms? Is there more of a taking than a giving in this? And I think that really relates to the government disclosure aspect, because as necessary and I think long-term positive that's going to be, I think we can all admit that it is heavily manipulated and it's deliberately confusing. And so really the discernment we need to bring is, how does this feel? And what is really being asked of me? And what are the solutions being proposed as a result of this information? And is it being used to uplift humanity? Or are we being herded into yet another fear narrative? Because that honestly is the direction it seems to be going to me.
Well, do you think we'll ever get disclosure?
Go ahead,
Alan,
we told everybody 10 minutes further.
Okay, great. Okay.
And we are very eager to hear more. So save the questions for her. But I do want to show people her Substack. I've put it into the chat box. I'll put it in again. It's thegalacticage.substack.com. And as you've heard from our beloved Connie and myself, her Substack is great. It's a really, really interesting one. Rethinking physical reality in the coming age of contact. So I encourage everybody to sign up and become a part of her Substack audience. And I apologize for interrupting you, Alan, but I want to keep us on the agenda. And we definitely have more questions for you, Carol, and it's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it's fine, Scott. We have a show to do here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I am going to read a couple of comments that have come in from the audience real quickly. There's a lot actually going on about the reptilians in different species, and people asking about what Danny had to say about that. So, very briefly, Danny said that there are 6 different species. None of them are perceived to be overtly malevolent. Ironically, apparently, the mantis people, which are the kind of strangest looking ones, seem to be the ones that are in control, that have the highest authority. And he talked about how very often we start with a fear experience, very similar to Whitley Strieber's journey, where it starts off as a very frightening, scary thing. But then as time goes by, there's more of a merging, more of an understanding that these experiences are designed to raise our consciousness, to expand our awareness. And so that was a lot. I'm giving you a very brief little synopsis in response to some of the questions that I noticed going on in the chat box. All right, I'm going to go back to Alan to introduce our next guest.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that piece, because as we talk to our guests, we go deeper into this consciousness field. And the next speaker, Desiree Pittman, I met at the Conscious Life Expo, and she was just channeling light frequencies. I felt she was really connected to these ETs and these higher conscious and her body and her light language. So, Desiree, talk about your connection to this higher consciousness and what we need to know now as a population about making contact.
Yeah, definitely. So just a little bit about me. I do channel energy. I channel energy with my entire body. So as I move, you're going to actually see me channeling energy, raising energy upwards, expanding energy, so on and so forth. That's kind of how I understand energy. Well, for me, just raising the consciousness and being aware of things around us. The way that I interpret it is we all have veils over us. That's the filters. That's our dramas, our traumas, those limiting beliefs, the programming, all of that are like veils put over us. And as we take off those veils, we begin to see more. We begin to sense more. We begin to raise our consciousness and be able to make contact with those other beings, with our guides, with our ancestors, what have you. So I think it's really about just removing those veils so that we can raise our consciousness, so that we can have that communication. And then bringing in the light language and the codes and so on and so forth.
Well, you want to show us communication right here on the spot?
Absolutely. So I do have a book on my website. It's called My Body is a Pendulum. It talks about channeling energy in your full body. So I'm going to give you a quick one right now. If you guys want to participate, just go ahead and stand up. Okay. Let your bodies kind of go limp like a noodle, right? And then when you do that, ask inside yourself, say, may I please see a yes within my body, and allow your body to move whichever way it moves, right? And just, you may lean forward, backwards, etc. But typically a yes is, may I please see a yes with my body, is leaning forward, right? The bigger the yes, the bigger the leaning forward. And then you want to check to see what your no is. So you're going to say, may I please see a no with my body? And you're going to feel your body move backwards. Okay. So as you're out there in the field and you're contacting the UFOs and you're talking to them, so on and so forth, and you're saying, is that a UFO? And your body leans forward, they're literally energy channeling through you that yes. If you're like, is it safe? And it goes backwards, hold on, back off. That may not be safe, right? So just pay attention to which way your body leans in that yes or no. So as you make contact with these light beings, so on and so forth, what is your body doing? Is it leaning towards it, saying, yes, let's move towards it? Or is it leaning away? Is it saying, yes, that is correct, whatever question you're asking? Or are you saying no? That's just the basic of the yes or no.
That's great. So then, do you want to bring some energies through so we can actually feel your direct connection?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, so let's clear some energy. So just go ahead and relax. Let's take a nice big breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. We're going to connect at that heart center. There we go. The first thing I'm doing is a counterclockwise swirl as I'm holding my hand out. My left hand is connecting to your guys' heart chakra. My right hand is moving the energy. That counterclockwise swirl, what that's doing is it's actually kind of reversing, removal, reversal of time, removal, transmuting the energy. Now we're going to raise that masculine energy. You notice my right arm going up. Now we're going to raise that feminine energy, left hand going up, that left side, your feminine side. As I do that, both of my hands are up like this. It's collecting light energy, allowing that light energy to flow down through your body. We're opening up those chakras, opening up those energy channels. What I'm feeling is that energy flowing down through the center of us as we open up those channels. Now I'm asking at the same time, can we please remove any limiting beliefs, fears, or they're like of that no longer serve us? When we remove those limiting beliefs and fears, we're actually creating a better channel, a clearer channel. I imagine it's like your windshield. When your windshield gets dirty and yucky, you can't see where you're going. So we want to clean it up so that we can feel the energy and see where we're going. Very good. Now, some of you guys are healers in yourself. I know that because my fingers are tingling and that tingling sensation is growing. Nice. I do feel a lot of energy within that solar plexus opening up as well, kind of bringing in that soul fire, that soul energy. I really like that, especially because Carolyn had been talking about, you know, we have the ability to change things, right? So when we bring in that strength, that fire within our solar plexus, that's bringing in the ability to change things on our own. When we choose to raise our consciousness, we're influencing all that which is around us. When we choose to go into that loving state, even if we don't know what it's going to look like in 10 years, but when we go into that loving state right now, that happiness you get on Christmas morning watching your grandkids open up the presents, that happiness you get from that first sip of coffee in the morning, that happiness you get from going and touching a tree, when we stay in that frequency, when we stay in that love, it just radiates out from us. So I'm going to ask, whatever it is that makes joy in your heart, happiness in your heart, think of that now and let's expand it. There you go. And let's expand that through our aura so that we expand that through the areas that we're at, bringing in that happiness, that joy, and not only the room that we're in, but the houses that we're in, the buildings that we're in. Good job. I'm going to make sure you guys stay grounded as well. We are moving quite a bit of energy. There is a little bit of heaviness on that heart chakra. So I'm going to ask that we remove some of that energy from that heart chakra to whatever is blocking us from bringing in that compassion, that love to not only ourselves, but those other people. One big thing as well is forgiveness. I'm going to ask that we bring in forgiveness. Forgiveness not only of others, but also forgiveness of ourselves and the situation. When we bring in that forgiveness, that's what allows that true peace within our soul. When we bring in that peace, we no longer in that lower vibe, chaotic energy, wanting to control, wanting to say, well, if it's this way, then it's going to be better. Well, if it's like this, then it's going to be better. And wanting to control, we're letting all of that go, bringing in that love and that peace, bringing us back to our innate self where we didn't have that programming. As soon as we're born, what do they say? It's a girl, it's a boy. And all of a sudden, you have that restriction on you, that programming. If I'm a female, then XYZ. If I'm a male, then XYZ. I'm asking reverse that programming, go back to the frequency of love and let that radiate out. Now, when we tune up our frequency and raise our vibration, that's when the messages come in. That's when we're able to sense more around us. You're going to feel what your loved ones are sensing. Are they hungry? Do they need something? You're going to start sensing what's happening around you in your environment. You know, when you walk in an area and you go, oh, it feels good here. I like it. Or if you're like, this place isn't for me, right? We're opening up that channels, allowing that energy to be read by our body. that antenna that we have that can tell us so much, right? And we're also opening up those light channels within our body. When we bring that light into our soul, into our cells, and we open that up, we shine brighter and brighter. And we remove those veils. Almost like Harry Potter, and he has the veil of invincibility, or that cloak of invincibility, right? What happens is when we have those veils over us, the light doesn't go out as much. So we need to remove those things, that programming that's been holding us back, those fears that have been holding us back, those worries. When we worry about tomorrow, it just holds us back. But when we just believe and we stay in love, we raise that frequency. When we raise that frequency, that's when we can talk to those light beings, and we can bring those messages in. Ones today. Look around you. See those individuals. Asha. Open your heart. Hear my words. Download the light. Know that you are protected. Raise your vibration. Let the ones come to you. So I'm seeing a soul family come. As I'm channeling this message, just light beings coming to you. Soul families coming in. I ask you to spread your light like seeds that burst open. Bring forth the wisdom from the galaxy. Look. You can look all around you, but look to the heavens, look to the sky, and look within you. Bring forth the love, change, clear, grow. Hear the words Ashkara, Agagaka, Adaga, Adagaragaraga. Osho. And it is done. Raising the vibration one more time. Gratitude. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. That was really, really beautiful.
Thank you, Desiree. Scott, any comments?
Yeah, I'm going to read a few. First of all, I love your energy, Desiree. You know, your enthusiasm, your passion, and that just the way you're raising our vibration through your modeling is amazing. And so it's beautiful. Susan Woolridge writes, bring forth the love, the change, the feel. I desire all of this and I'm feeling it. Scotty Satori writes, so awesome. Wow. Reverend Jeffrey says, I love dancing with you, Desiree. Thank you. Susan S. writes, connecting to my body as a pendulum is an integral part of my life. Diara writes, this is Soul R Fire, SOULAR Fire. And then finally, Omashar writes, thank you, Desiree. For me, the pendulum swung opposite, forward, no backwards. Yes. So beautiful. And I know that we're going to have some questions for you during our Q&A time. Thank you so much. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm going to go to Alan to introduce still another new guest, another new friend.
Another amazing person that I met at the New Living Expo, Sir Blake Sinclair. I think that's your last name. I would just call you Sir Blake around here. But what's so interesting about Blake, or Sir Blake, is that his father was very connected to Roswell. He was there at Roswell with the bodies, but you've looked at those facts, but you've also opened to this whole other spiritual level. So you want to talk about what your father knew and then what your awakening was like in relationship to the UFO phenomena?
Sure. Thank you, Scott. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be here in the show. I was asked to share a little bit about my background, about my knighthood. I was knighted by Prince Garios, and he's part of the lineage of the Ghassanid dynasty that goes back 1,500 years ago. They were the original defenders of Christianity 500 years before the Crusaders. So I've been active with the Equestrian Order of Michael Archangel. It's a humanitarian order. Now, I'm also an author, certified health coach. I've written 3 books about spirituality. And the thing about my writing is that I don't just sit down and write. I get downloads. And I had no idea in the beginning where it was coming from. I just knew it was coming from the universe. Eventually, I went the spiritual path. I became like a yogi. And I began to connect with various ascended beings, ascended masters. And a lot of those teachings, principles, were downloaded into my psyche. So I would have to pay attention to it. I would have to write it down. If I don't write it down, the concepts, the words, the teachings, they would haunt me over and over until I write it down. So I wrote my first book, Dare to Imagine. So it was when it was done, the download stopped. So I thought, okay, I did my good deed for the universe. I'm done. And then like maybe 1 or 2 years later, I get more downloads about the path to mystical path, how to connect to the universe, how to connect to the ascended beings, how to connect to God. So that I thought that was done. And then 2019, I was giving downloads about wisdoms about how to empower humanity to navigate through this health crisis. At the time, I didn't know that was the plan. And I just wrote down things about how to empower people through mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And in retrospect, I realized that all that information was to help people to go through it more gracefully and to help people to be more empowered to make it through in their consciousness. And so later on, I met with somebody really interesting, Misha Johnston. She is a hypnotherapist, and she's also very connected to the ETs and the ET channeler. She helped me to kind of get in touch with myself. So last year, my publicist wanted to promote me, and she kind of got some background information about me, finding out that I was very spiritual and that my father was involved in Roswell. When I was a kid watching TV, with Roswell incident movie, my father came behind me and he was kind of holding a cigarette and say, "Hey, I was there." I said, "What do you mean you were there?" Because I was there during the Roswell crash. So I said, "How?" He said, "Well, I developed the pictures." And I said, "Well, did you see it?" He goes, "No." And that was it. And he kind of smiled and walked away. And I just left it at that. And I said, "Oh, well, he didn't see anything, so no big deal." So I left it alone for many, many years. So I've always had a fascination with the stars, UFO, alien topics, but I didn't really study about it at all. And so last year, I got into a lot of TV shows, radio shows, and we talked about that topic, about the encounters, well, not encounters, but the Roswell incident. And I myself had a contact experience as well, between 6 and 10 years old. And you mentioned about the mantis being. I was contacted by the mantis being, and they brought me aboard the ship, and they were kind of tuning to my consciousness. And then I started to talk to Misha Johnston to do regression, and she helped me to see what happened. And not only that, there were 3 other events that I had contact experiences with as a child, and I totally wiped that out of my memory. So I did the hypnosis, and I found out that I had 3 other contact experiences. So I said, okay, that's fine. That's really cool. But I don't want to write anything about the ufology or Roswell. It's so controversial. So many books have been written about it. And besides that, my dad didn't see anything, right? So then I started meeting with people, family members. And my brother, before he passed away, he shared a lot of information about my father. And I learned out that my father was really involved at White Sands, New Mexico, at the missile range. Back then, that was considered the Area 51 of the 1940s. And I didn't know much about what he did, but then I found out through family and friends that he was involved with the first nuclear bomb. He was filming the event there with Dr. Oppenheimer. And I found out recently, after talking to Jesse Marcel Jr., that his grandfather was also there during a test site. So it was like one thing after another. So he did that. He was involved with the V2 rockets. Eventually, the big thing that happened, Roswell incident. So when it crashed, the military people would go there, and my father was part of it, to film the event and document it. So he verified that there was a crashed UFO. He verified that there were a couple of bodies that were dead and one was taken away. So it was kind of, I was writing a book to kind of document for my family mainly for the history, but I started to get downloads like, hey, you better start writing more about this, not just about Roswell, about the consciousness of the planet, about this, the ET connection with us and how it's important. And it's not about them and us, you know, it's about a family. It's about a reunion. So I was fighting it for a long time. I didn't want to write about it. And all of a sudden, about a month ago, I said, okay, I'll write it. And all of a sudden, the doors open. I started talking to Don Schmidt, the guy who wrote the Roswell book and made it into a movie. I met Alan. And so the universe is basically working with many of us around here to download information to empower humanity and consciousness. So as we remove all the veils to purify our consciousness, to expand that consciousness through meditation, we can affect our planetary consciousness together. So I think that's the reason why they contact me and everybody else in the planet, because this planet is going through a certain trajectory and we can affect it. And I think during 2020, with the health crisis, a lot of people woke up. So waking up. So now what? So we need to work on meditation. We need to go inside find our true nature. Who are we really? And how we're connected to this cosmos. So I started to study the history of ETs and realize there are patterns in the universe. There's a certain ego consciousness that wants to dominate. And there's a unity consciousness connected to source, the God, the ascendant realms. And so there's kind of battle going on through history. But if we work on ourselves through our own consciousness, our own evolution, together collectively, we can shift the frequency of the planet to raise that frequency enough so that we can be closer and have that reunion with our ET families and friends and relatives. So I'm writing my book and hopefully I'll finish it by June, July.
So, Blake, thanks for sharing all that. Where are we in our evolutionary development as a planet? What's next for us? What do we need to do from your point of view?
I think we need to, all of us, light workers, all of us, we need to work on a cultivation. You know, we need to go inside of ourselves. That's where it starts. When you get inside yourself and get to the meditation, you expand that consciousness into the world. So more of us need to look inside of ourselves and don't get distracted. I mean, it's nice to see UFOs and all that. I love it. But and it's nice to read about, to learn about it, but we need to take it personally. And also when we meditate, expand that vision, expand that frequency to the planet. That's what I do after I finish the meditation. I put a healing frequency around the world. Because I used to, when I meditate, I could see the energy that around the world. There's a dark energy, and there's also like kind of a battle. So we can kind of raise more people's awareness who these beings are, have more contact experiences, CE5 experiences. You know, write in the books, share with people in blogs or videos, and show people that, hey, we are not alone, number one. I think the Roswell incident is just basically to verify that we are not alone. And then, well, what is our relationship? Well, we need to connect with them through the CE5, through the meditation, and also through discernment. There's a lot of fake gods out there, fake beings that want to lead us in the wrong direction rather than focusing expanded consciousness and connecting to the source is making us focus on the ego, connecting to the wrong things, connecting to AI. AI has become a god, and we're losing that contact. We need to connect to the DI, divine intelligence. And then when we do that, and then we can connect with them. Because when we do that, they feel that energy. I have a friend that connects to these orbs, and they feel that love, they feel that peace, they feel that harmony. And so when we have that peace, we bring him closer to us. So we have more of these CE5 groups with people who have a light-minded, with light, with love, with unity. We bring more of that contact experiences. So people see those kind of things. It becomes real, experiential. So that, you know, I think that's where we're at right now. We're shifting as a planet. We're making good progress on it. And I think if more of us continue to work on that, we're going to hit the right direction.
Great. I just have one Roswell question from Ayata. Did the craft at Roswell crash, or was it shot down, or was it, some people say, the radar? Do you know anything about that? Because I've always wondered.
Yeah. Some people, I know Dolores Canyon talks about being shot down. It's possible because when that evening there was that explosion, and then you see all the debris around the ranch. So it's plausible that it had some kind of effect from a radar or something like that. Because Nikola Tesla had developed the death ray, I think, like 4 years ago, and then maybe the people broke into his apartment. They took that information. They could have made it into a death ray and shut it down. Either that or some kind of frequency thing. But I don't think that's the important thing. I think the important thing is that the UFO crash and there was a survivor. That's the most important thing. And that survivor survived to make that contact with human, because the alien could have chose to die, but it didn't. It made that contact. And through that contact and relationship, even though we were so rude to it, we made that contact. And then later on, that opened the door for future ETs to come to the planet, to work with our planet, to work with our government system, for better or worse. But they were making that contact. And there are a lot of them from different planets working with different friends of mine to empower humanity from different councils.
Yeah, thanks. Scott, you want to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Sir Blake. And definitely, I've done quite a few stories way back in the 90s when I was producing National Broadcast Television. I did some amazing stories on Roswell, and I worked with Jesse Marcel, of course. So we'll be back to Sir Blake when we get to our Q&A phase. Our last guests for tonight, our old friend of mine, Costa, and I met, I think, 30 years ago. He was very involved in getting the Great Invocation out to the world, which is such an important and beautiful prayer. And he and his wife are with us tonight. Alan, is there anything you'd like to add as an introduction?
Well, yes, what Costa's doing is so important for our planetary awareness that we're not alone. We can make contact with these beings. He has this global citizens movement for making contact and for having people believe in their own experience. This is why I think we need to go out there and see the craft themselves. I was just in Mount Shasta. We must have saw 40 craft and one really bright one. So they're here and they want us to know that, and we need to go beyond what governments are telling us. Right, Costa?
Absolutely. And by the way, thank you both for having us on the program tonight.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're really excited to be here and meet all your other guests. We're also learning as we go along. The major thing that I want to emphasize and talk about is the People's Disclosure Movement. It is composed of more than 1 million people, and I think that is very conservative estimate, who are interested and or practicing direct contact, the kind of thing that we're talking about tonight, making contact directly, individually, in an interactive, consciously with the cosmic beings that are here. Now, this People Disclosure Movement was started in 2010, was founded thanks to a message that we received through Hollis when she connected with some ETs that were answering the question that I had, which is, what can we do to help your positive agenda? That will further that. And the answer came as she was connecting with them.
Create as many teams as possible to do CE5.
Yeah.
In as many places as possible, as quickly as possible.
And that was a very simple request. And I said, well, I could do that. I love to network, got the internet, and it's a matter of just finding people all over, teaching them and letting them know that in our aggregate as a group, if we grow our movement, then we're going to really have something. I asked them, what's the purpose of us doing this contact? And they basically said, well, as more humans request to see us, we literally will show up in more cities where we can be seen, which is kind of the baseline thing everybody can mostly do, whether we have psychic powers or other modalities or not. Most of us can see, and we would encounter them, and that would give them even more permission to show up in more cities around the world where more people would see them and give them more permission. And they call this a virtuous circle, an organic thing that would grow on its own. And I asked them, well, what's the end point of that? And they said, well, someday, so many people across the planet will have interacted with us through these groups and given us permission that a tipping point will be reached, after which no government authority or any other kind of institutional authority will ever be able to again cover up our presence here. And they said that this will be like, well, it would be groundbreaking. They told me that in 2019, we achieved that tipping point. So I want to let everybody understand that we have a people's disclosure that has happened,
Yep.
right? The government part is something that is yet to come along, but we really don't need a prime minister or a president or whatever to make that announcement, because we know what we know as the people.
And every single person can go out and look in a dark sky and see things that are anomalous and rule out, the satellites, for example.
Right.
We can all have that experience. And if we go within, we can all have conscious contact with other beings, some of whom maybe from other galaxies.
Is there a certain protocol that you use or recommend using to call them in?
Yes. Now every group, it seems, has a different protocol, and on my website on etletstalk.com, I list 7 steps, and people will modify those. The basic idea, though, at the core of it is, no matter what, how you kind of will tweak those 7 steps, the core of it is love. It's having an open heart, open mind, and intention to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, so that you can meet them halfway, because that's kind of what they want. They want us to make that effort too, because they're family, they said, and raising our frequency through our consciousness, through our heart, is critical.
It's a heart connection with each other, like with our group, sharing heart energy,
Yeah.
which amplifies it, and then we can make a heart connection with these other beings.
Wow. Is the government afraid of that for some reason? Why are they not acknowledging this? No.
Control structures. Somebody earlier said control structures. I mean, do I know that for a fact? No.
Well, let me give you some additional information. After our star friends, again, through Hollis's connection telepathically with them, after they said that we reached our tipping point, the vision, the image they gave us was of a snowball rolling downhill that cannot be stopped. Now, grok that for just a minute. The control structures might think that they can stop it, but this is like whack-a-mole. It's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it all over the world. People are experiencing, and it's a movement that's unstoppable, regardless of what other control structures may think. And that's where the power is, because this is really people power.
Right. So how do we form our own group, or how do we connect to the other CE5 groups around the world? I mean,
I tell people they can come to etletstalk.com. You can become a free member, and material will be sent to you about finding other groups that are hopefully near you. There's instructions on how to make contact, and that gets you started. The center is everywhere, is what I like to say. This is not a centralized thing. It's not my movement or Hollis's movement. It's the people's disclosure movement. So wherever you are, in whatever situation you find yourself, I'd like to say that whether you're alone or in a group, you're at the center of the movement, and you have all this energetic support, whether you realize it or not, all over the world, because we're a group.
And if you have a clear intention to make contact, whether it is with star beings themselves or with somebody who's on your wavelength, if you have that clear intention, that will manifest.
Wow. Can we connect all these groups? Can we have a big online conference that will pull it all together?
Well, I've been doing that every month since 2010, when the People's Disclosure Movement was founded. It's the Global CE5 Initiative. I publish the dates, usually always on a Saturday, near the dark of a new moon. And people all over at least the people who get my emails and get the information through social media, then do hook up like that every month. And we've been doing that now. We're in our 15th year.
Amazing.
And that is what created the tipping point, by the way. That was a result, that monthly thing, which actually can be done weekly and daily too, was the answer to the request of our star friends and family who said, create us some groups, get them active, get them going, get them connected. Let's start talking. We've been doing that monthly. So if people want to join in our global CE5 initiative effort, just come to etletstalk.com, get on the mailing list, and I'll be sending you information every time that happens.
I'm going to the website right now because I want everybody to see it. And for all of our friends watching on Facebook or YouTube, it's etletstalk.com. So etletstalk.com. And I want to encourage everybody right now, sign up. It's free, and we all should be part of this. Create an account. It's very easy. It just takes a couple of minutes. And it's so important, the work that you guys are doing. Thank you so, so much.
Welcome.
I know we're going to have some questions, and we'll get to those in a moment. We're a little bit past the halfway point, so it is time for our mid-show Omoshar song, a chance to move and groove and digest all this wonderful information from all of our guests. So thank you, everybody. Get ready to move and groove. I'll be putting the camera on those of you that are dancing and moving. And here is our house musical artist, our beloved Omoshar.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. This tale I tell, it has no ending. I'd like you to know we are all on an incredible journey, a traveling show. I've been looking at you in your homeland, watching you grow, weaving light into creation, a heavenly glow. I have been inside you for so long, I will be with you forever. Come with me, let's spiral through the stars. Part of you has always remembered since the beginning of time. Through your hearts you felt my presence, a knowing sublime.
I've been guiding you beyond your perception. Forever your friend. Take some time and get to know me. I'll welcome you home. I'll welcome you home. I have been inside you for so long. I will be with you forever. Come with me, let's spiral through the stars. We have been inside you for so long. We will be with you forever. We'll come with you and spiral through the stars.
Wow. Such a perfect song for tonight. I'm going to go to Gallery View and let's all give twinkle to both Omoshar and also to all of our wonderful movers and groovers and dancers. Thank you. And Desiree,
And a wonderful guest, Scott. I am so inspired by everybody because they're weaving in this whole cosmology, let's say, of the beings which are attempting to be with us in consciousness. Holy smoke. I mean, duh. Thank you so much for bringing it to my attention, to our attention.
Point well taken. Thank you, Omoshar. Thank you. Hey, I want to remind everybody that Omoshar does have a great YouTube channel. If you go onto YouTube and just click Omoshar Music, and there's all sorts of wonderful videos and opportunities to get Omoshar music that way. So, and always make sure you subscribe because the more subscribers you get, the better it is. So thank you, Omoshar, for your amazing gifts that you give to us. I want to acknowledge George Noble mentioned that this week is Wesak. The full moon was on Monday, but it's all week long in the Buddhist tradition. This is the time when the Buddha was born, had his enlightenment, and 20 years later, and then eventually left his body. And there's different ways of looking at it. Some people believe that the Buddha circles and blesses everybody who's in meditation. Others believe that the Buddha and Christ and other gather in a secret valley and pray. But the bottom line is you've got over 1 billion Buddhists all meditating and praying this week. And so the energy is high. It's a powerful time. So thank you, George, for reminding us of that. We did a lot of meditation on Monday and Tuesday where I was staying in Tiburon. And this is a good time for us to meditate and pray and tune in. This is also when we get to take Q&A. So I'm going to put everybody on camera here that is part of our team, if you will. Mm-hmm. There's Costa and Hollis and Alan, and where's Carolyn? There she is. Okay. Yay. Let's take a moment.
Well,
this is such a broad perspective we have, Scott, and this should be the common conversation people are having around the planet. I'm so happy the Global Peace Tribe is paying attention to it. But my question to everyone is, how do we make this the common conversation? What do we need to do as a population, as free thinking individuals, to make this more of a reality? So who do you want to call on, Scott? You just call on.
Well, I think that's a great general question. So it's a question to everybody, and we'll go in order that you already were on the show. So we'll go with Carolyn, then Desiree, then Sir Blake, then Costa and Hollis. What are steps, ideally maybe examples of what you do to raise consciousness, to connect to non-human intelligence? What are some tips, tools, and practices? And we'll start with Carolyn.
Sure. Well, I think I kind of heard two parts of that. One is sort of how do we connect and have our own personal experience, and then perhaps how do we communicate that with others should we choose to do so. And on the first one, I'll just say briefly again, and I know there's some protocols out there like Costa mentioned and some other people had in the chat. I would echo, it's really an intention from the heart and learning to sort of quiet the mind and make it welcome. You know, before I had my first experience, I set the intention, I cleared the fear, I reached out in love, and I just kept trying and going out. For me, it was more going out night after night and putting in the effort and realizing that it's an energetic match that's happening. It's the formation of the relationship. It's not a demand, it's not a command. They don't necessarily owe this to us, you know, it's just reaching out in that spirit of cooperation. Who wants to share an experience with me? And then, you know, for me personally, I have the Substacks and so I've been pretty open in sharing my experiences. But I think it is important, like some of the other people have said, and I mentioned, that we shift the conversation away from the government. If for no other reason, then it's like, why would we trust the same government that's been deceiving us for decades? How do they suddenly have credibility? They don't. And again, while they're part of the puzzle, it's really time for us to start empowering our own voices. I know there are some people who will only believe this stuff when it comes from an authority, but this is really the time for us to reclaim our own sovereignty and the power of our own voice and our own knowing, and look to ourselves and the people that we love and trust to decide what's real and meaningful for us.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay.
Let's go to Desiree.
Yeah, I think this is a really awesome question. Like, how do we do that ourselves, of raising the consciousness and connecting with these beings? And for me, it's really about taking back the control of us, right? I've been there, I've done it, I've been in that depressed place. I've been where I couldn't get out of bed before. I've been where the world just felt like it was too much, right? And I was stuck in that unempowered state. I was stuck in that 3D reality of I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this because that's what I was told. And then one day when I stopped and I said, no more, I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to listen to what's inside of me, and I'm going to start bring forth those joy and the love in my own life. That's when things started to shift, right? And when I started even doing the little things, if I wanted an extra shot of espresso in my coffee and that made me happy, that's what I was going to do, right? If I wanted to drive a different way after work because I wanted to look at the trees, that's what I was going to do. If I wanted to take one more minute and hug a tree and everybody around me was looking at me like I was crazy, I didn't care because that felt good. And as I started to implement more and more things in my life that brought in that happiness, right? And I started, you know, experimenting with like Reiki and understanding that, and, you know, just understanding sound meditation, you know, bowls and all of that. I really started to raise my vibration, and it really started to empower me. I realized that the only way that we can be controlled is if we're actually like energetically below something. So they try to control us, right? But if we empower, we're actually going to be more powerful than them, and we will no longer have that control over us. So when we step into our love, when we step into the frequencies that we know within ourselves, right? We start knowing, no, that feels good, that feels right. And we step into that, that's stepping into our power instead of having somebody tell us this is what's right and what's wrong. As we do that, and we step into that power within ourselves, that's when we open up those channels of communication. We talked about Mount Shasta, just was there the other day, Alan. Like you were there seeing the ships and everything. I was listening to the energy as I approached Mount Shasta. I literally felt that repressive energy. You know, don't go there. And I go, no, I know I'm going there because I know I'm being called to go there. And I know that the divine is asking me to do something when I was there. And as I was there, I went into a meditation, right? And I saw those darker figures repressing the Lemurians that were underneath Mount Shasta. And they said, help us. And when I listened and I sent my energy, love, happiness, and I started blasting that out, you saw the Lemuria actually coming out of those tunnels, coming out of being repressed. So when we sit there and we expand that love, we expand that power, that knowing that we have within us, that we can change things, that knowing that we cannot be controlled because of how powerful we are within us, and we can change that around us. That's when we step into our true power, and that's what we need to do.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Let's hear what Sir Blake has to say.
See, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a journey of self-discovery. It's going to search within yourself. Who are you? And to understand the dynamic forces around you. We are a mental body, we are emotional body, we have physical body, spiritual body. And we have to go within ourselves and take off the veils. There's so many dynamic forces. We have an energetic force around us, and we have energies within our body through our chakras, and we have food that we take. All those things affect our consciousness, affect how we feel even. And so before I went on this spiritual journey, I was a very sad and depressed person, living in a very low vibrational energy. And it was through that spiritual path of self-discovery to end my suffering that I learned how to discover my true nature. And the important thing is the meditation and wanting to find out who I am. And then, you know, live in love, live in light and compassion and kindness. You know, these real basic things. You love yourself, love others, and forgiveness, all those basic spiritual principles. As you practice those things and integrate those things and have the awareness of the energy centers and all the dynamics that affect your physical, and understanding the subconscious mechanism that controls our behavior. Because a lot of times the first 6 years of our life, we're conditioned, programmed, and the rest of our life, we're just acting out of these programs automatically. So if you understand that subconscious mechanism, go through hypnosis to unlock all that, reprogram yourself, have affirmations, visualize where you want to be, have the intentions of meeting with these beings. And then for me, the most important thing is service. You know, serving people, serving humanity. You ask the universe, how can I be of service? And a lot of times when I do that, then these ascended masters, they come to me and they guide me what wisdom to share to people. A lot of times I write things, people say, how do you know this? I don't know. I just open myself and I surrender to the process. Clear your mind, go within, meditate, take care of the self, nurture yourself, and love others, and then serve. And when you serve, the universe, God, the ascended beings, the ETs will come to you, support you, and they'll bring you to where you need to go, who you need to meet, and what you need to do. And you find your inner compass and listen to that. And the more you practice that, the more you get in alignment with your divine purpose and your divine nature. And that's when they connect with you. And then post it, your experiences, write about things like that. Write about it in social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you find out some new knowledge about the ETs that validates things, educate people. That's very important. the more you do it, the more people see it, the more they read it, the more they awaken, and then give them the tools to work towards that. All my books about how to give the step by step, how to empower people towards the path of enlightenment, and how do you connect to the universe.
Sure, Blake, I
Yeah.
love what you just shared. Being of service, and there's a nice balance. Desiree talked about following her inner guidance to do work on that level, and that's a form of service. But anytime we can be of service in any way, whether it's as a caregiver, whether it's to animals, because that raises the vibration. It all comes down to love.
Right.
And the more that we demonstrate love through action, through compassion, through service, that raises the vibration of the planet. So I really appreciate that you brought that up. Thank you, Sir
Yeah.
Blake.
Hey, Scott, I just want to add one thing to that is what Blake said. It's like we have to feel our humanness before we can meet the others. I think that is what is so unique about us, our feeling nature, what we can tune into and express love and compassion. There's something very special. And I think this is what the ETs are looking to learn from us. And how do we tap into love? What stimulates that? And if we can drop into that as a planetary civilization, then it doesn't matter what the government is doing. It's like we found ourselves, basically. So
Right on. Thank you for saying that. It's very, very beautiful.
yeah, thank you, Blake.
All right, we're going to go to Gus and Hollis. Reverend Jeffrey, I see that you have your hand up. If you have a question, can you put it in the chat box to let us know why your hand is up? And here are Costa and Hollis. What are your tips and tools and practices?
I love what everyone has said. There's the personal going inner, and then there's talking about service going outwards. My personal power practice is what I alluded to, or actually mentioned before when I was speaking about the Global CE5 initiative. When it was started in 2010, the idea was for so many groups to be created around the planet to where they would become an overwhelming, positive, loving force to bring ET together with us, the cosmic beings. That's still going on. So my answer is every month, as we continue to get together now in our 15th year, our hundreds, our thousands of groups across the planet, we are coordinating with each other. We are using our own various versions of the protocols based on our heart, open minds, open hearts. But we're also wielding the power of the group, because the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I knew I was going to get that right one way or the other. We form a group field of welcome, of interaction, of communication with our cosmic friends and family. So that monthly practice of all the CE5 groups getting together is something that still excites me. It still brings in more people. It's that snowball rolling downhill that cannot be stopped. And that's why I remain passionate about it. We have a lot more road to travel with our star friends, but boy, we've made a really good foundational start in meeting them in this group field and continuing to do that. And by the way, people don't just have to wait every month to do it. You can make contact anytime, in your living room or out in nature, wherever, nightly, weekly, during our monthly get-togethers. But just keep it going, and that's the whole idea, and that'll just continue to build.
So I'm going to start at the very beginning, which is, and my guides showed me this in meditation many years ago. Each of us is literally connected to all that is through the heart chakra. So if you focus your attention on the heart chakra, you are literally one with everything. And then on a kind of more practical, physical reality level, be who you are. Don't apologize for it, and don't be silent. Don't keep it to yourself. I kept it. I've known a lot of this stuff since I was a little kid, and I was shamed into keeping quiet. And what I would say now is, like, tell your truth, because who else is going to, and what's to be ashamed of the real truth? You know, be who you are. The second thing is, and as part of that, just because you have a bigger reality than those people around you that are trying to control you doesn't make you wrong and bad. It makes them limited. So be who you are, be all of who you are, and spread that. And tell that to the people that are in your influence group. Like, I now have people from, you know, my college class was 1,000 people, some of whom are pretty famous. And they call me when they have an anomalous experience because I was out there with it. So, you know, do all that. And then if you want to change reality in the larger perception, my guides gave me this many years ago. And I'm going to back up for a second and say, for 28 years, there was a psychic lab in the engineering school at Princeton University called the Pear Lab. Google it. The founders are both on the other side now, but you'll find stuff. Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research. And that whole thing was about how consciousness affects reality. So whoever was talking about, you know, what's happening at the edge of the universe and consciousness affecting the trajectory of a space of the Voyager. Actually, that is exactly why Pear Lab was started. And if you want to ask me why, how I know the story, I'll tell you later. But in any case, if you want to affect reality on a larger level, one of the things that came out of the Pear Lab is that a man and a woman, okay, in general, one woman is as good as one man. Two women together are as good as one woman.
What?
Oh, at affecting reality. Two women are as good as one woman. Two men are as good as one man. But a man and a woman together who are a couple are 5 times as good as either one separately. So my guides gave me this affirmation, and Costa and I do it together daily. Ready?
Ready.
May the hearts and minds of those in power be turned to the good of the earth and her children, or may they be removed from power immediately and permanently. May the earth and her children rise up and claim their birthright, their divinity, the ability to co-create peace, justice, abundance, and freedom for all.
Oh, that is powerful. That's all twinkle. I'm going to go to gallery.
Can you put that in the chat, that affirmation, just so we have it?
Yes, I can. I'll type it.
That is so beautiful.
You know, Scott, what's happening here is something's coming together. Well, I can sense we're moving into incredible times. Something very exciting is starting to coalesce in this group. I know you do this show all the time, but there's something here that seems to be solidifying a trajectory of the possible. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think I keep going back to either the 100th Monkey or the 4-minute mile. You know, before Roger Bannister, nobody could run a mile in 4 minutes. Once Roger Bannister in England did that, good high school athletes now can run a 4-minute mile. You know, it's like our consciousness changes. And so the telepathy tapes is opening up. Yes, we can be telepathic in all these wonderful ways. And the more that we hear these stories, the more that we hear these experiences, the more it allows us to own, well, yeah, I want to have those experiences. Or I did have those experiences, and now I'm going to share it a little bit more. And
we're at a tipping point. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And
that's why the show is called The Awakening World, right? That's what's happening. Our planet, we are awakening. And one more thing I'd love to share, and we've all heard it, but it's really important to hear again and again and again. A caterpillar literally will eat so much that it kills itself because it has stuffed itself with too much food. Caterpillars basically commit suicide by eating too much. So the caterpillar is dying, and death is scary and crazy. But as it's completing its experience as a caterpillar, there are all these imaginal cells, and the caterpillar kind of becomes this gooey soup And floating around the soup are all these imaginal cells, and they find each other. And as they find each other, they coalesce and they connect. And those imaginal cells come together. And from that, the butterfly is created. And is there anything more different than a caterpillar and a butterfly, right? Like it's such an extraordinarily important analogy. So we're in that time now where we are over-consuming, we being humanity, we're over-consuming, we are stuffing ourselves to death. But the imaginal cells, there's imaginal cell Carolyn, and imaginal cell Desiree, and imaginal cells Costa and Hollis. As we all find each other, as we come together and share these experiences and raise our consciousness and come to awakening, we are creating the new paradigm.
Yes, but we have to melt first. We have to surrender to something and choose to melt, and then let the new emerge. So, but that's a beautiful story. So Carolyn, what do you say about this next phase? Like, what do you intend to do to bring in the coming galactic age?
Well, one of the things, and kind of building off what Scott said, is I believe that, since we're all energetic beings, our frequency is the greatest contribution that we can make. That's the ultimate form of service, is the energy, the frequency that we're pulsing out into the all that is. And so really what I've do my best every day for my life is to model the world that I want to create, is to show up in that place of joy, like Desiree was talking about. It's like, what can I do to pulse out joy, love, compassion, abundance? What are the energies that I want to amplify and multiply? And what are the desires that I have for this planet? And contact is one of them, one of many, peace. And so really what I've come back to is, well, there are things I can do in this physical world to be of service, and ways I can use my voice and things like that, and ways I can try to be a pioneer. I think the way that all of us are probably being of the greatest service is by opening our hearts, is by sharing that love, is again by modeling that world that we're inviting people into. This is really a frequential thing. And so the more of us who really commit ourselves to managing our own frequency and expanding our consciousness, that's the shift that happens. And contact is really just a byproduct of that larger shift.
Thank you. Wow.
There's a question that came in from the audience, and I want to just put it out to the group. It came in a little while ago. Who can speak to the Schumann resonance? We hear a lot about that. It's referenced. Any of you want to explain what it is and what's taking place with it? Is that in anybody's wheelhouse?
Well, it's the frequency of the earth. I know it's the vibration of the earth, and it seems to be changing. I'm sure some people have more to that than just that, but there is a shifting of earth frequency that's affecting who we are as earth beings. We're walking around in these earth bodies. So as the earth changes, we're changing. That's why nature is so important at this point. It really is. So I think it's because of this galactic overall shift that all of us, the whole solar system is going into, and maybe the whole galaxy or universe itself. Yeah, did you get something about that, Desiree?
Well, I can speak from my own experience when it comes to the Schumann resonance. I spend a lot of time out in the woods, a lot of time meditating. I spend my weekends traveling the country, doing expos, doing healing work. But on a regular basis, during those meditations, I get downloads on what's happening with the collective, what needs to happen, energy work that needs to happen, so on and so forth. And I see a huge correlation between what's happening with the Schumann resonance and what I get in my meditations. right? About a day before, a week before, I'll be like, wow, this huge download happened. A couple days ago, it was like, open up the wings on the human angels, right? Just bring them, to open up their wings. And I was like, okay. And then you watch the Schumann resonance just change and you're like, whoa, right? We talk about things in the news. We talk about like the Pope and what happened with them right before that. Huge, massive clearing energy came in. It was like removing the pre-programs and all of that. And then all of a sudden, the Schumann resonance just spikes. And then the Pope. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I can just see the correlation between my personal work and what I experience, and then also what's happening in the news, as well as just the general changes on that.
Reverend Jeffrey, I see you've got your hand up, and you also mentioned something in the chat box about the Schumann resonance going from 7.28 to 11. Do you want to address that? And if so, I need you to unmute.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
we that was discussed at our science group. Of course, you know I'm very much involved with the International Space Federation and the science community, and that's the technology. Now, I found something interesting that Danny Shan was talking about, and this is kind of a question. It kind of relates to the telepathy and what's going on with the children right now, and what's happening now. One of the things that I understand, and you guys maybe know better about it, is that even when they try to create the technology for space travel, they can't find pilots that can telepathically work with the equipment because they're not in sync with the vibration and energy that allows them to do it, and they crash or whatever. And so again, what I see, and again, I bring this to what's happening with the children. And again, I'll put in the chat, there are all kinds of schools where children are being taught how to see without eyes, totally before they get programmed. You know, I mean, some adults can still do it. I'm not one. that they can actually just totally go into their intuition, and they're being trained. And then, of course, you have the amazing concept of the telepathy that's coming out in the telepathy tapes. And that's the level of what I'm beginning to see as the energy, which has to be loving. You can't be telepathic and have a sense of separation. So if we're going to move, and I think what I'm very inspired by are what I see as the children coming into the world with the gifts that they're able to manifest. And again, I can't believe what I'm seeing in the telepathy tapes. So anybody want to comment on all that, I would appreciate it. And again, I just wanted to say one last thing. The International Space Federation is opening the technology. They're studying it, and they're making it open source to the world. So anything you can do to support the International Space Federation, because that's going to be an open source to the technology. Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely.
Scott, you know what it talks to that is the downloads that people like Hollis and Blake and others are getting that are raising this brainwave frequencies to these other dimensions. So I think that's connected to what we've been talking about here.
Yeah.
Right, Hollis?
Anybody?
Absolutely. And what I would say is, you know, this has been going on for generations. It's just nobody, you know, we were shamed out of talking about it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Blake too, I think you have some information about your inspiration, right?
Yeah, just regarding the resonance of the Earth frequency, from what I understand, it fluctuates because of what's going on the planet. And they do have a technology I usually wear, but not right now. It's called the bubble. And you wear it, and it generates a frequency to help you to balance out that disparity and the changes of the planetary frequency. And each time you tap it to charge it, it tunes into the planetary frequency to promote health and wellness. But in terms of what I do to help with the process, I do a lot of sacred things. Like I do a lot of chanting. I do like Hindu chanting, with mantras, Tibetan chanting, and using that, and also invoking the assistance of the ascended beings, because there's ascended beings that's gotten, and the ET, when I pray to all of that. I have a very long prayer, and I invoke that process of these beings to assist us. Yes, we can help each one of us collectively, but there are beings out there too. Why not ask for their help? In terms of the chemtrails and in terms of influencing our planet's frequency. They got high-tech frequency devices on their ships, so they can help. But we can invoke the violet flame, the violet ray, to do a kind of cleansing of the planet. And I do a lot of symbolism too. And also there's like Anahazi codes. You can visualize it, you can breathe it, you can sing the Anahazi light language, and it activates your different chakras, your 15 chakras, and your stranded DNA and your intron DNA. When you do that, visualize that, all these different codes and all your organs and consciousness and all that, it raises you so that you become less affected by the 5 G towers out there, and the 6, they're going to go further and further up. It empowers you, and it also expands your consciousness too. So there are things that we can do systematically to empower us, and to also empower our consciousness, and to call upon these ascended beings and ED and the divine presence, because it's all connected, and to let our consciousness merge that one. So we, the universe, God, all of creation become one consciousness. That's how I spread it. And then teaching people about it, posting about it, writing about it, making videos about it, Instagram, TikTok. All these are methods that are used to bring our conscious down, but we can collectively raise it up through these same channels that people are tuning into.
We haven't had a chance to go to Blake's website yet. So I want to do that.
Is that the right one?
Well, that's the website that I have for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's sirblakeSinclair.com. And as he says, my mission is to accelerate the evolution of human consciousness by empowering as many people as possible in discovering the greatness and divinity within for healing, guidance, and wisdom. And he provides many, many different services. This is where you can learn about his work helping people with memory program, neurocare, stress management. And what is Centropix? Tell us about Centropix.
Centropix is that company, and that's the one that has that little bubble unit that you can wear. It's a personal protection. They also have a unit called the Cloud. It was invented by the Dr. Kafkas. He's a German scientist using Swiss technology. It's one of the most amazing tools I use with a lot of my clients for pain, inflammation, for good health, for collagen, for so many different things. I even use it with my stroke patients with dementia to decrease the inflammation, to promote circulation. And I see a lot of positive response to this technology. It's very easy to use. It's a portable unit. It's a little bit pricey. It's like having a tool like a German Mercedes or something, but it does wonders. I think every household should have one of these devices. But they have cutting edge technology that promotes wellness, essentially. And I believe that NASA even talked to this company about using the machine in space for the healing of their astronauts. So a lot of athletes are using it. A lot of high-tech people are using it. People who are in the cutting edge of health technology are using it. It's a wonderful tool for grounding, for earthing, for promotion of the body's wellness. And it stimulates the endothelial lining to help your body secrete the nitric oxide, which is a molecule of life, promotes circulation. So anything that promotes circulation promotes healing.
Great.
Yeah.
And just completing with all the many services he provides, life coaching, geriatric placement consultation, health coaching, home safety for the elderly, pain management, and alternative care referral assessment. So you can find all of these things when you go to sirblakeSinclair.com/services. And thank you, Sir Blake. It's wonderful to meet you and have you on the show. And I'm going to go to Desiree for a moment because we didn't get a chance to take a look at her page. So we're going to do that right now. Her website is her name, Desiree, and she spells it Desira. There's an A in there. Pittman, Pit1T, MAN.com, DesireePittman.com. And she's offering a free ebook called My Body is a Pendulum. And so it's right there. You can click and get it. I'm going to do that. And tell us a little bit about My Body is a Pendulum and what we get when we get this ebook.
Yep. So My Body is a Pendulum actually goes through kind of my story of awakening. I was literally standing in a crystal shop and I said, should I get this one? And my body goes like this. And I said, should I get this one? And my body goes like this. And I said, should I get this one? And my body goes like this. And I go, oh my gosh, my body is a pendulum. And from there, I realized that it does different swings, clockwise, counterclockwise, raising the vibration. Even little things like this is rewriting the Akashic records, breaking vows, cutting cords, all those different things get downloaded during my meditations on how the body moves. So with My Body as a Pendulum, it begins with my story and then teaches hands-on activities on how you can learn how to move energy, feel energy, sense energy yourself. I teach a variety of different classes on how to feel energy, see energy, move energy, etc. And that's the very beginnings of that.
Beautiful.
Great.
You've demonstrated it so beautifully tonight. I just love watching you.
Thank
We
you.
should like have you on every show in the corner doing your magic to just
Yeah.
keep raising our vibration. You know how you have like the Amasalan interpreter, you know, you're like the new version of that. So Alan, you scored as always with the amazing people that you bring on to the show. So we're going to go to each of you having a chance for a last thought for each of you to share a last thought, and then we're going to do a little bit of prayer for some of the people in our community. But we'll go to Carolyn. What's your final thought for the night, Carolyn?
Wow, it's been a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Just remind everyone to spend a few moments every day, as much as they can, being in their heart, finding joy, setting a positive intention for their light, and seeking to be of service. It really can be that simple, I think, sometimes, and trust that the infinite intelligence, who's always out working on our behalf, is responding to the energy that we're pulsing out. So take time to manage your frequency and be as loving as you can in this world.
Thank you, Carolyn. That's a beautiful message. Desiree, what's your final thought for the night?
Listen, because of your inner knowing. Go within yourself. Spread the love. Listen to the heavens. Download the frequencies. Plant the seeds. Use your words as power. Use your thoughts to seek, grow, and elevate. Blessings to all of you.
Thank you, Desiree. Sir Blake.
Just realize that you are limitless. Each one of you there are very special. I mean, it doesn't matter how many titles, how old we are, how young we are. We all have the divine light, that love inside. Cast away the doubt. Search within. And realize how powerful your mind is. You visualize it, you create reality. Every one of you can do that. Just surrender, connect to the universe, and let the process happen, and believe in yourself. All things are possible.
Beautiful. And Alan, what would you like to share?
We are coming into exciting times. I mean, we've already activated. Scott, you do this 3 times a week, and you're out in the world, and I'm out in the world, and Costa and Hollis. I mean, there's a coalition of consciousness that is not going to stop us from manifesting these higher realities. And this is it. We are igniting, and I can't think of a better time for the world to come together and to explore the unknown and bring in a civilization that lives in coherence, peace, joy, all the things we always wanted is actually right here. And you demonstrate that every week, Scott. So thank you. And I'm excited about all of it.
And thank you, Alan. You are amazing at really keeping your finger on the pulse of how we are making contact.
Or with each other, at least. Yes.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a moment now to do some prayer.
Did you want to ask Costa and Hollis to?
Oh my God, did I miss you guys? Did I? I am so sorry. How did that happen? I apologize.
Go ahead.
Okay. Be in your heart, focus on the positive, send love.
And realize that if you're seeking in any way to connect with the larger universe, whether it's other dimensions, other planets, other systems, wherever, that we are part of the largest, most positive, incredible, evolutionary, spiritual movement on this planet of all time. That should give you a feeling of courage, of inspiration, of hope, no matter what's going on in the outer screen of life, because we are changing that to something that's better. So just know that you're part of this movement and be in joy. We're not alone in the stars, and we're not alone on Earth either.
Thank you very much, Costa. Thank you, Hollis. I apologize for.
No problem.
Sometimes I get ahead of myself. Anybody else do that? Anybody else get ahead of yourself sometimes? I want to ask us to do a special prayer for Piper Dellums. Piper's having some challenges right now. She's hopefully going to be on the show Saturday night. We're going to show some of her wonderful microfilms. Also, I'm going to put the camera on a moment on Roger and Bonnie. I know they have a request, so if you guys could unmute. And Roger, you're still muted. And share with us who you would like for us to pray for.
You go ahead.
Hi, I have a prayer request for a second cousin named Justine Lackner, who currently is hospitalized in Africa with suspected malaria. She she started a foundation called Sustainable Classrooms, and the hospital that she's in is in
Togo, somewhere over
Togo, and the hospital is a pay upon admission hospital. So I don't know if she has resources for proper care or not. Just keep her in your prayers, and I appreciate any energy you can send her way. Thank you.
We'll go to gallery view and say her name again as we send prayer and blessing. What's her name again?
Justine, Jestine.
Okay, maximum grace to Justine.
Thank you.
And as we send our prayers to Justine, to Piper, of course, we send out to all beings everywhere who are going through challenging times. I know that I feel especially drawn to sending love to the people in Gaza. What's taking place there is very inhumane. And blessings to the people in Gaza, and blessings to those who have the power to stop the genocide that's taking place. May it stop. Maximum grace for the new Pope and for all world leaders. May they listen to their wise heart as opposed to previous programming. Maximum grace. Maximum grace.
Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful Global Peace Tribe. We're going to go to Omashar for our closing song.
Beloved one, please hold me in your arms, supporting me, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star. We are earth and star. We are the one desire unfolding, the one true love evolving, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star. We are earth and star. We are and we feel it deep within. We know it in our hearts. We can bear the pain of separation no more. So come on, come and join us. Here's a taste of what will come when you let go, give in to the one. The Sacred Heart is pulsing, radiant light, revealing, 'cause we have traveled so far, earth and star. We are earth and star. We are innocent child returning, pure and clear, emerging. We have traveled so far, earth and star. We are earth and star. We are and yes, we feel it deep within. We know it's in our hearts. We can bear the pain of separation no more. So come on, come and join us. Here's a taste of what will come when you let go, give in to the one. When you let go, give in to the one. We are earth and star. 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 We are
Big twinkle to Omashar and to Desiree.
Desiree, that rocked. Feeling you whilst I was playing was just like the icing on the cake. Thank you so much. The gluten-free cake.
Well, I do want to say that was absolutely beautiful. Literally, I saw our hearts open up. I saw us gift the gift of love deep within our hearts to humanity and watched it grow. So I just want to say thank you for everybody on the call today. Thank you for sharing your energy, and thank you for the wonderful music and just helping to raise the vibration of everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. And please come every week, every show, and do your thing. Hey,
Your energy interpreter.
I want to acknowledge Mark Danisovsky's back with us. Mark, welcome back. We've missed you.
Hello. Yeah.
I'm imagining you've been playing music in wonderful places.
All over the place. I was at a cowboy camp last week. That was fun.
Wow. Well, welcome back. It's great to have you back with us.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of phenomena too. Crafts. It's been astounding. So I posted a couple pictures, but there's also movies too, but I can't post movies there. So
wow. If you send them to me, I'll show them on a future show.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay.
Welcome back, Mark.
Yep.
And of course, want to let you know what we've got coming up on Saturday night. We're going to be really kind of focusing on wisdom and art from our great global community. Ashoka will be back playing kirtan, Piper Dellums and her movies. Katrina Valancourt has a wonderful and very valuable new book out. Becky Suzik has an art project and is also going to explain a couple of things that we've been wondering. Of course, Omashar will be with us. And then we're going to conclude with a very powerful message from Jim Garrison of Humanity Rising. So that's going to be this Saturday night. I sure hope you'll all join us. And again, watch that Danny Sheehan video. We've put it into the chat box several times tonight. It's very, very powerful, very much worth watching. Thank you, Omashar, Costa, Hollis, Sir Blake, Desiree, Carolyn, and of course, my wonderful friend and co-host, Alan Steinfeld.
And you, Scott.
And me
Always
too.
a pleasure, Scott, to be making contact with you and the Global Peace Tribe.
Oh, thank you. Likewise. Love you so much. You know that Alan will be back on very, very soon.
Right.
There's so much going on. So it's
well, I'm going to be at Contact in the Desert, where I'm going to get the world community's input about what's going on behind the scenes and also in Congress. So
let's schedule for you. I'll take a look at my calendar. Let's schedule for you to be on as soon as possible right after that, and you can update us on everything that took place.
Great. We'll do that. Thank you.
All right, everybody. God's blessings. Definitely get Carolyn's Substack. She is an inspiration. And join ET Talk and support Desiree, Omashar, Blake, Sir Blake, and The Awakening World. Take care, everybody. Have a great few days. We'll see you Saturday night.